Do you get really concerned about how much money you don't have, or maybe you have a lot of money and you're still thinking about if you're doing the right thing with the money or if it's going to disappear, this insecurity that you have around money? I'm Lisa Jayne, and this morning I want to talk about the fear of financial insecurity. This is such a juicy topic because it's a very powerful feeling that often stops us from stepping into our true self and into the fullest power that we are. It stops us from doing the things that we really know we should do. And in fact, the fear of financial insecurity will really encourage us to risk an awful lot. There's a lot of things that we won't do, and there's a lot of things that we do because of that fear of financial insecurity. And the funny thing is, it doesn't really matter what we do, the fear will still be there because it's an emotion. It actually has nothing to do with the reality of the situation. We could have trillions of dollars and still feel fear of financial insecurity. We could have 1 cent in the bank and feel no fear of financial insecurity. So it's really all about what's going on the inside. And it's the emotion that I want to talk about today, because that emotion is there for a reason, and it shows us what we need to do to step back into our true self, into our personal power. So the fear of financial insecurity simply is giving us another opportunity to do that right now. I work with a lot of women that come to me after they've been through a breakup or a divorce or separation, and they're looking to take back their power. They're also in a place where they're walking through the wilderness. A lot of them have had to leave roles where they had financial security, or partners where they knew that it didn't really matter what they did, there was always that backstop there. And now they've stepped out and they're stepping into their full power, and yet they feel like they know there's going to be a time where they're walking through the wilderness and they have to be able to financially support themselves. And that's a very real thing. That part of it is not an emotion, right? We do have to pay our bills. The way society is structured, we have to be valued for what we do. We don't have to be, but it's appropriate that we're valued for what we do and that we contribute into the world what our gift is. So when you're going through that, walking through the wilderness place, and you really want to try and relax into that and find what it is that you love to do, and you're waiting or you're open to life showing you your next move. Those feelings, when you're in the uncertainty, the feeling of financial insecurity is one of the emotions that will come up and possibly fill you with moments of dread. I know this, and they always happen right in the middle of the night when it's dark and there's no one around and you're alone, and that's when the dread comes, and it's like, it is very, very powerful. So there's a few things that I'd like you to consider when you're facing that fear of financial insecurity. Remind yourself that this is about you taking back your personal power and stepping back into your true self. And when you're in your true self, this is a place where everything is in alignment. There's nothing in you that needs anything to be complete. And that's the truth of you. And I feel, and from what I've observed, all the things that happen to us that create an emotion in us is simply our emotional world reminding us, keep coming back into that. Keep coming back into your center, into where you feel truly empowered. If we feel financial insecurity, then that means that somewhere along the line, we've placed our power in having finances. Somewhere along the line, we've placed our security in the money that we have. Now, that's all well and good because it does give you opportunities. And there's nothing wrong with having a lot of money and being able to use those opportunities. But if who I am, if my security is dependent upon the money I have, can you see how volatile that makes my sense of self? So if I'm feeling financial insecurity, I'm like, wow, this is an opportunity for me to transfer where I'm putting my power, bring it back to me, and know that who I am is actually okay. I'm very secure in this place. Whether or not I have money, I'm okay. I'm okay on the inside. And from that place then, I'll validate the emotion. Why wouldn't I have those feelings, right? There's a reason they're there. And the reason is that our society places a lot of pressure on us. And also we do have physical needs that we need to meet. And that's the way we exchange is through our finances. So it's valid I would feel those things. However, I'm at the point now when I'm standing in my truth that I go, okay, well, why wouldn't I have that feeling? I totally get that. I allow that feeling to be there. I acknowledge it. It's just a normal part of the life experience that I'm having. It is a normal response to a life experience. I normalize it. I allow it to be there. And then I turn my attention towards what makes me feel more empowered. I stand in the center of me and I go, okay, what do I need to do to bring in that place of feeling empowered? What do I need to do next? I might need to do a little bit more work on that feeling of financial insecurity. I might need to understand it. I might need to look at where I gave my power away to having money in the first place and how it influences the way I see myself. I may need to nourish myself in that and nurture myself and understand that unconscious reaction a little bit more. Or what I found when I went through a breakup a couple of years ago, I was walking through the wilderness, and when this came up for me, it was like, it was a call to me. My emotions were giving me a call to take a specific action. It was like, put a deadline on yourself. Say to yourself, by this time, I will be earning X dollars, and just giving myself a deadline and knowing that I would be doing that by a certain time made me feel like I had a bit of a backstop. I had some security there. And that was really for my thinking, more so than anything. I took action, and taking action is really important when you're feeling a fear of financial insecurity. But you don't take action from the fear. Validate the emotion, which diffuses the charge, step back into your truth. And then look at, like, one of the things I did, which I found really helpful, was to write a list of all the things that I could do to generate an income. And then I had to list next to each of those what I needed to do to actually action them, to get them to manifest. And then I chose which one was going to be the easiest, which one had the lowest hanging fruit. And then I targeted that. And I set myself tasks every day. So it was taking the action that allowed me to feel like, hey, I'm doing something about my situation. I'm empowered in this. Because often what happens is that fear will keep us powerless. And it's all about how free you want to be. I mean, sure, you can let that stop you from being all that you are. But then you're on a trajectory away from your truth. Then you're on a trajectory to a place that is going to consistently feel worse and worse and have more and more problems. You might have health issues that start to arise because you're not in alignment with where you need to be, with what you need to be doing. You're following a trajectory that's based on fear, not your truth. So there's no freedom in that. You feel more and more constricted, more and more unhappy. And really, do you want that? How free do you want to be? Wouldn't it be better to use this to take back some of your power? Use it as an opportunity? And sure, you're not going to nail it straight away. Like, it took me quite a few years to actually be able to step out of financial insecurity, that fear of financial insecurity. But every time it arose, I used it as an opportunity to see what I needed to do to step back into my truth. And I stood there and I did what I had to do, because I know that that puts me on a trajectory that leads me to my highest potential. Often we'll see just the worst in a situation. I read a post yesterday that said something like, maybe the outcome's going to be better than you ever expected. And for some reason, our mind doesn't focus on that. Our mind focuses on the negative. So it's a discipline, isn't it? Expecting that it's going to turn out better than you expected. And what I've discovered is when I'm prepared to really take back my power in a situation and step into the truth of me, it's almost like all this support turns up for me. That's exactly what happens. All these things happen for me because I'm open to the opportunity, because I've stepped back into my truth and I've claimed that for myself. So today, I'm sending you lots of love for a very empowered day so that you can step into the truth of who you are and not be undermined by any fear of financial insecurity.